Hi everyone, welcome to the Break It Down podcast. Today I've got Chadstone with me, Rob, Al and Dave. Hi guys.
Hi guys. Hi Joel. Hey Joel.
Oh, you know, before in the prep when I said have a little pause so you don't talk over each other, you can say hello, that's fine. You're allowed to say hello. So,
thanks, Joel.
So today we're in to talking about the new economy, how lockdown's been for businesses, the future of Chadstone, and a little bit about marketing too. So let's get into it. And we're back. Right, guys, how are you?
Yeah, Joel, how are you, Joel?
Yeah, I'm okay. First time dialing in people on the new podcast equipment, so this could be an interesting test of our mettle. But we'll see how we go. So, what's new in the world of Chadstone?
I'm glad we can be your...
Glad you can be my what?
I said I'm glad we can be your test subject.
It's a strong start, that's what I'll say. It's going well. So, what's new in the world of Chadstone? Obviously I know, but let's tell the world.
So the exciting news at our end is we bought a new property, a new office block to work from, which is super exciting. It's down on Hadley Park East near Horton Wood.
Cool. That's in Telford in Shropshire for people further afield.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a standalone unit, like a real eco-friendly property. It's kind of designed so that you don't have heating bills and stuff. It kind of maintains a constant temperature in there, so it's all eco-friendly, which is lovely. And we're currently kind of stripping it out and rebuilding it so it flows with the Chadstone way of doing things. So yeah, there's lots of building work and different tradesmen in there at the moment. So yeah, it's very exciting. Lots of changes going on. Yeah, it's all good.
Nice. That sounds really good. So let's say I'm a guy that doesn't get excited about accountants' offices normally. What's different about the Chatstone one?
So our kind of design element of the office, our kind of script that we tried to do the whole office at, is to make it almost as close to a bar as we can make it, but it still be an office, obviously an office. So when someone walks in, there will be desks, there will be computers, that sort of stuff. So you can tell that it's an office, but it will have the comfort of a much more social space.
Yeah.
So there's lots of kind of touch materials in there, lots of different types of seating areas depending on what sort of meeting you might be having or what sort of person you are, what your preference is. We've got a pool table going in, just kind of trying to make it as much of a comfortable, like relationship-driven space as we can, as we like to run our firm. We just want to make sure that when someone comes to see an accountant, which lots of people probably don't necessarily want to go and see an accountant, that we make it the best experience that they can have when going to see one.
That's
the plan.
That sounds amazing. That sounds really cool. So, pool table, that sounds a bit different. Heard rumours of a beer fridge.
There is talk of a beer. Yep.
Talk of a beer fridge. Yeah, that's wild.
You might even get a beer when you come round, John.
I hope so. So, when's the big opening? When can people come?
Well, we have to kind of wait for what the government says we can do. But generally, we think we'll be in about a month from now.
Cool.
So we will be fully operational from the office about mid-August. Is the kind of current proposed date.
Yeah.
And as soon as the government allows us to have gatherings of any decent size, we will make sure there is a sizable office warming party.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a hand sanitizer and beer party. So,
yeah, I like the sounds of that.
Yeah, I think that's all parties will be like that in the future. Like, please shower before entry. So, so
Just don't drink for hand sanitizer.
So what's the future of Chadstone on that basis? So obviously that's a huge move for any business, and particularly for a business to make a move like that during a global pandemic. What kind of where's this heading?
Yeah, so the timing wasn't great, but the actual deal had been kind of, I think, agreed upon maybe 18 months earlier. So it's not something it wasn't a snap decision that suddenly happened during lockdown. It's something that's been in the offing for quite a while now. It felt like the natural next step in expansion, in growth. We were busting at the seams a bit in our old office. It was an office within a much larger building, so we were very much constrained by the layout and basically what we had to work with.
Mm-hmm.
This new one was much more a blank canvas that we could really stamp our own kind of brand on and get our image across, as Al was mentioning earlier about we're massively relationship driven.
Yeah,
and we want the new office to kind of just portray that in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this allows for us. This allows for us to do that. It allows for expansion, so we can take on more people as we grow. It gives us everything we need really going forward. So all in one, all under one roof.
Toys R Us.
Yeah.
But
I hope we don't go the same way.
I was going to say better. The problem with Toys R Us is they had absolutely no experience marketing. All the other toy shops caught up with them and overtook them. You go in there and you got to play with the toys in the other shops. You couldn't in Toys R Us. They were all on massive shelves. True story.
Very true. Yeah.
See, so when you come to Chadstone, you can sit with the staff and have a beer. Ideal.
Yeah.
And
game of pool.
So what's been the biggest challenge for Chadstone through lockdown?
Sorry, lad, are you going? No, I was forming a sentence. I was going to say, I think communication has been our sort of struggle. I think both internal and external. It's just a bit harder when everyone's in distinct places rather than all together. It just makes everything a little bit more difficult to communicate somehow.
Yeah.
I think we've got better at it over the 16, 17 weeks that we've been doing this, but it's been a steep learning curve, I think.
Yeah, no,
definitely.
I'd say Codebreak has gone through exactly the same. It's all well and good saying remote work is great and a low overhead, but actually communication is really bloody difficult virtually.
Yeah, and I think to kind of tie it in again with our ethos and how the company works, we're very much relationship driven people, and I'm sitting in the loft of my house that I've been sitting in for 17 weeks now. I think you hear lots of stories of people who are now working from home who are really looking forward to carrying on working from home, love the fact that they can do it forever, that sort of stuff. It's certainly not my style, and I don't think it fits our company values and us as people that much. We are people, and yes, we can virtual communication and we can have Zoom calls and that sort of stuff, but it will never, for me, it will never replace being in the same place physically as someone and being able to talk more freely and yeah, just being with people. I think that's been my real struggle over this.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think half the fun of being a business owner is actually watching the people that you employ develop and see what they achieve and kind of
absolutely
be a part of that. And sending someone a certificate over Zoom isn't quite the same as it is.
No, definitely not.
So what is, obviously without going into details, what's the biggest challenges you've seen for clients during this period? Obviously there's some standout obvious things you might say, but what surprised you?
Obviously, the standout obvious one is the drop in income, drop in sales.
Yeah.
But the unknown, I think the unknown hasn't helped. Whilst the government have done some excellent things with various sectors, they haven't helped all sectors.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been left wanting from an information point of view, wanting from an actual financial input point of view. So, I think it's been an incredibly difficult job for the government. I wouldn't have wanted to be in their shoes, but there have definitely been gaps in information out there for businesses to then go and run with and help them get back on their feet.
Yeah.
Even now, guidance over face masks and such like. One day you get one bit of guidance, the very next day there's something contradictory, and that's really difficult for business owners to then take and pragmatically put into process so they can start opening their businesses and getting their team back in.
Yeah.
So the moment has been very challenging.
Yeah. No, I think obviously Codebreak as a business, we saw all of everything you just described. So it's I think if you come out of this on the other side, you'll come out a stronger business with a very interesting outlook on the world. So
yeah, I think if there's kind of a silver lining to the cloud of coronavirus for businesses, it's forced a lot of businesses who maybe didn't look at their costs as closely as they should have. It's now forced them to do that.
Yeah.
Not only from a staffing point of view, but simple things, their utility contracts, their rent agreements, their all the way down to kind of stationery orders, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Was kind of, it didn't matter so much before, and we were maybe paying a little bit too much, but it's not worth the hassle of kind of getting it changed. This has made it worth the hassle of getting it changed, and as you said, if these businesses come out the other side of this, they will be stronger businesses for it, because they will have been through, probably aside from a kind of major economic downturn, which we're likely to have anyway, but because of the speed that this hit, they will have survived a pretty serious situation, and they will be better for it, essentially.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it, I know you guys can tell me your thoughts on this, but the perspective it gives you as well in terms of what's important when all this stuff kicks off.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Family life, things like that, taking things a bit more slowly, taking time out for yourself.
Yeah,
I think that's been a huge learning curve for me. Kind of early on, with helping businesses get their grants and things, we were working super long hours, and to the point where I'd be speaking to people and they're going, "Oh, I bet it's lovely being at home with the boys," and I'm like, I don't get to see them. I generally don't. I'm sat at my desk from the moment I get up to the moment I go to, because we're trying to help these businesses get what financial help they can get and get guidance out there and things. So it wasn't a time to be able to spend with the family. That then led on to a slightly slower pace and a bit more time to think. And then you start thinking, actually, it's really nice to be able to spend some time with the family, take half an hour out during the day to play with the boys or whatever it might be. And then, that whole shift in mindset starts setting in. Perhaps a slower pace of life is what's needed.
Yeah, or often sort of at our end of things, when you kind of take a step back and do everything a bit more methodically and a bit more maybe at 80% speed instead of 100% speed, you end up getting the same amount done.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind, is that you can kind of be frantic and feel like you're working really, really hard. And actually, when you take that step back, you just cut out the things that you shouldn't have been doing anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like a busy fool.
Well, yeah. Are you calling me a busy fool? Yeah, sounds like it.
Well, not anymore. You might have been before, but now
Yeah.
you're 80%, so you're fine.
Yeah, I'm all good. Now I'm just a fool.
Yeah, you're just not busy anymore.
Yeah. So, what have you seen with businesses in terms of marketing? Obviously, I'm going to have to turn this to marketing at some point. My view is many businesses cut their marketing in a time when they had the greatest marketing opportunity they'll ever have as a business.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. You kind of hear stories of when businesses panic, they cut the two first things they cut are sales and marketing.
Yeah,
and they term it kind of cutting the head off a snake or kind of whatever it is, because they're seen as not doing the job that the company's there to do, so they're expendable costs.
Yeah,
they're not doing the plumbing that a plumbing company is there to do. So they go down, they kind of pare back to actually performing the role that the company's there to do. Mm-hmm. So they cut sales and marketing without realising in probably a very short amount of time there's going to be a massive sales, because there's nobody there bringing in new prospective leads, and then nobody there converting those prospective leads into sales.
Absolutely.
And I think you're probably right. That's what a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction will have been. And I guess I hope that it doesn't bite them too. We've definitely seen people cut those sort of expenses.
Yeah.
Just out of panic, essentially.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the first
they almost see it as...
Go on, Dave.
Oh, sorry, John. I was just saying they almost see it as low-hanging fruit. They just pick the easy stuff to cut. They think it's very short-term thinking. They cut the stuff that's not necessarily needed in the immediate term because of the nature of things, but they don't think about how things are going to ramp up.
Yeah.
Post crisis.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and I think it's easy for me to say as a marketing agency, when times are hard, that's when you really need to focus on your marketing. I'm not naive. I realise probably more important to put food on the table. I get that, but there was such an opportunity where you've got this massive captive audience of people who are suddenly working at home, spending more time on their computers and phones than they've ever done before, and you can put your business in front of them with ease, and the cost was through the floor. Facebook advertising, Google advertising really dropped because that many people had slashed their budgets, that there was a real opportunity there.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for like our clients at the moment during this period? What would be your perhaps top tip or top tips?
I think you've always got to be realistic. So I'm not ever going to be in the habit of running a marketing agency that tells people spend X amount, because they've got staff to look after, they've got whatever it might be. But I think I've said to you guys before, you should always be looking to spend around 10% of your turnover on your marketing, roughly, and that could be on a month-by-month basis. So you could say, I'm only going to ever spend 10% of the previous month's turnover on my marketing. And I think that's a really sensible approach to it, that if you can't afford to do that, you need to know that your business is going to decline.
Yeah. It's a good litmus test, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of what's happening.
Yeah, exactly that. And equally, there's some huge opportunities out there. So we sort of practice what we preach. We've spent more on marketing in the last 4 months than we've ever spent on marketing, because we knew our competitors would stop spending.
Yeah, you saw that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it was a scary one. It's not one I want to have to do all the time. So, but digital advertising never costs less, really, in terms of bang for your buck. Even print advertising, there's been some unbelievable deals out there, because obviously the circulation of magazines and papers has dropped. And then the things you can do, a podcast it's not an expensive form of marketing. You can stick a microphone in your phone and record a podcast, and you had millions of people literally sat at home working with podcasts on in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I feel like this is another Ask Joel for not setting up.
Oh yeah, well it wasn't, but it's building that way. I mean, to give you an example, I think we were on kind of 200 listeners an episode before lockdown, and in April we hit 1,000 listeners an episode, and now we're at 1,500 listeners an episode.
Right.
So it's
was that in anticipation that we might be on the podcast?
Yeah. So this one's going to hit 2,000. That's what I've heard.
Can't wait to hear an accountant on a podcast.
The joke on the new podcast. You know when radio stations or podcasts need to go into an ad break?
Yeah.
How do they do it? And that's what always happens.
They tend to leave a hook for you to.
A hook.
They tend to leave a hook for you to continue listening afterwards.
Yeah, I'm crap at that. Hi, Joel and Andy here. Thanks for listening to our podcast. We're loving sharing our marketing tips with you.
If you'd like to kickstart your marketing, why not jump on a discovery call? Simply visit codebreak.co.uk and apply there. Hopefully speak to you soon.
Take care. And we're back, slick as you like.
Nicely done.
Nailed it. So have you guys got any questions for me? What have you seen? What's going on? What don't you know about in the world of marketing that you want to hit me with?
I was going to ask with. Okay. I was going to ask with lockdown kind of easing now, measures easing, businesses coming back, the trade starting to pick up. Is the social media world still the way to look at? Is that you're still getting good bang for your buck? What should businesses be doing looking forward?
I think I like that you guys always talk about relationships, and I think everybody now should be looking at their marketing like that. So I guess 50 years ago, people they maybe have a business meeting, they'd give that person a bottle of wine, they'd shake hands, they'd call them up the next week, they'd go and play golf with them, they'd call them up the week after that, they'd maybe take them for lunch. And it's kind of like seeing your marketing like that. So social media can help you do that. It can help you put good information out there, help you make connections with the right people. But you've got to nurture it. All of it has got to be with an end goal of actually essentially wanting to make friends with people and wanting to help people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's awesome.
I remember. Sorry, Joel. I was just going to say, I remember when we first started with you guys. You told us you were a marketing agency, not a sales agency.
Yeah.
So you could get in contact with people, but it was then our jobs to nurture those relationships and convert them into sales. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think that's probably what you're saying there.
Yeah, I think I mean this is not necessarily true, but I would suggest there's accountancy practices in this country that will just use a call centre to get leads. So they'll pay a call centre and they will get a guaranteed 50 leads a week or 50 leads a month or whatever it might be. I would say that the relationship you develop with those leads is not ever going to be as good as how Chadstone develops their relationships with people. Because yours comes from a place of authenticity. People feel like they know you by the time they're speaking to you.
I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah, I think those leads are so much harder to turn into warm leads, whereas hopefully, because of the output that we put through you guys, they're by the time they talk to us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people about this kind of thing recently, where it's really important that the people that you're trying to work with are going to be compatible with your business. And that's something Chadstone does really well, is you try and attract people that that get it. They understand what you're about.
Yeah. It's it links in massively with our whole ethos on relationship, and everything that we try to do is it's all about getting the right people to work with in terms of that relationship. It's key, really.
Yeah, definitely. And then to go back to how much bang for your buck you get with that kind of marketing, well, the more friction you can remove, so the more you can speak their language, the more you can serve them content they're interested in, the more you can show them stuff that they want to engage with, the less they'll cost to acquire as a client.
Yeah.
Which is possibly not how most people look at their marketing.
No, probably not. I've got a question for you, Joel.
Okay.
So you talked before about people having a golden opportunity during lockdown to market, mainly because competitors might be cutting down their marketing, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think appear, hopefully, like they're starting to pick it back up a little bit. Have people missed that opportunity?
No, I don't think so. One, because things are picking up a little bit, but people are still very, very cautious. So there's very few businesses spending significant amounts on their marketing. So there's still gaps there to plug. And two, loads of businesses are doing it really badly. So you can kind of, if you can find your niche and attack the marketplace from a place of authenticity, like I mentioned before, there's huge gaps for that. For developing relationships and building your business to work, essentially to work with the sort of people that you like to work with.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So what's Chadstone's view on, I hate this phrase, but the new economy? What's it going to look like for the next 12 months, 24 months?
That's a pretty good question. I'll just take out my crystal ball from over there and have a look.
That's an easy one, Joel.
I think it's going to be quite tentative to start with. People are going to, as you say, they're going to be nervous about spending big or things like that, because what happens if Leicester happens in their area and they get locked down and suddenly their income's cut off again. So I think people are definitely going to be cautious. I think there's also going to be loads of opportunities. I think people are going to shop differently. I don't think it's the death of the high street. I just think people are going to shop differently. People still enjoy that experience, so there's that to go with. Shops are going to have to work harder to get people in there. Businesses are going to have to work harder at giving somebody a good experience. So I think it's going to come down to kind of perhaps less about price and more about how they're made to feel through a transaction. They want to be able to enjoy it. There's a lot of doom and gloom going on at the moment, and people want to escape that. And if they can escape that by feeling good about buying something and the experience of buying that, be it anything, then those are the businesses that are really going to excel in this environment. So I think there's going to be losers, but there's going to be a whole lot of opportunities and winners out there too.
And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I wonder if a lot of businesses are going to have to accept slightly tighter margins on what they do, but the payoff is they'll probably have a lot more fun doing what they do.
Yeah.
So
and I think there's a lot of opportunity there for businesses that do put that effort in, as Rob was just saying then, to create the experience that people want. Yes, you might have a lower margin on it, but you probably bought a customer for life or until something else happens. You'll build a lot more kind of goodwill with those customers rather than it be transactional, because it's an experience now. So they'll go back for that same experience.
Yeah, see, I think that's exactly where you are with a prospect. If a new prospect comes to your new office, they they should be under no illusion when they leave that you are not like any other accountant they've ever encountered.
That's certainly hopefully.
I think so. I hope
That's the
so.
plan.
I hope so. It's, but I think that's really important. It's really important, you know, having those things to onboard people, having a plan. So many people with their marketing miss out on a plan to look after people once they've got them. So they're so worried about prospects that they forget about clients, and actually, then when bad things happen, that's when you lose clients, and suddenly you wish you'd been looking after them the whole time.
Yeah.
So
I think when you talk about when people come to see our new office, and they'll be under no illusion of that we're potentially different to other accountants, or under no illusion of who we are. I think that's one of our real things that we try to do, is make sure that, because there's no point in hiding that we're almost like our marketing says that we're this traditional accountancy firm that people kind of see when they think of an accountant, and then they come and see us and we're completely different. We may as well put ourselves out there as who we are, and then we will hopefully attract the people that are after that sort of experience, rather than a transactional experience that someone else might be after. For example.
That's it. I think that's a really strong point. Is you've got to be comfortable that there's loads of people out there that want their accounts doing. They don't all want their accounts doing the way you do it. But that's okay.
That's right.
Yeah, and
that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely fine.
Yeah, we don't want to work with everyone.
No, you want to work with the people that fit, that slot in.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then from there, you can build a community, because you get that situation where people are really, really proud to work with you, and then they're telling their friends, and then they want to be part of that picture, and then you host a Thirsty Thursday networking night, and people want to come because it's the thing to do, and it's exponential, as opposed to what I think some people see as marketing, where they do a few social media posts and then wonder why they haven't had any inquiries, basically. Do you think that was a good enough point to hit the ads?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey everybody, it's Ferguson Jen here. We actually recently noticed that not all of you who are listening to this podcast are actually subscribed.
So why don't you click on the subscribe button so you don't miss out?
Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
And we're back again, smooth as you like.
Oh, you got it nailed.
Yeah.
Serious technology.
You missed your calling, Joel. I think you just need to be a full-time podcast presenter.
I wish. I bloody love that. I mean, I'm never going to stop telling people I've got 1,500 listeners. It's my dream.
Just keep telling them you've got Chadstone coming on. You'll
get the 2,000 every
you'll be
week.
Yeah.
We'll have to do one live from the new office when you're allowed, with the equipment.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
that'll be really cool.
Nice. So, I guess we should wrap this up. So, have you got any killer questions to finish us off? I was trying to think what I've been asking you. The long pause goes well for broadcast. Long pause. We'll just fill it with laughter, just like everyone's having a great time.
Yeah. All good.
Sorry. How facetious of the host.
Anyway, so
Yeah, they liked it. So I guess, what's your advice to businesses at the moment? Because I suppose now is like the hard lockdown's kind of finished. We might have some regional lockdowns, but we're probably about to head into the biggest recession in the history of the economy. So, what are you saying to businesses right now?
I think the first thing I would say is don't panic. Don't make rash decisions. If you need to have a chat with your accountant, your marketing guys, whoever, give them a shout and utilise their expertise to get you through this period.
I like that, Dave.
Because if you make a rash decision and then, see,
I think
other marketing companies are available.
What was that? Other accountants are available. Is that what I heard?
No, that's not true.
I think don't panic's a great shout. I think also on the flip side of don't panic, don't take your eye off the ball as well. All these lessons that you've learned going through this initial shock bit of lockdown, don't forget them just because a hard lockdown's over.
Yeah.
Kind of keep going with them. Make sure that you're on top of expenditure, that sort of stuff, so that if things get worse or have a second dip or whatever kind of nasty things you hear about in the news, that you're ready for it. You've done it once.
Yeah.
You can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've turned yourself into this lean operating business,
lean operating machine,
because you'll. Yeah, I was going to go with that, and then I backed off. But keep it that way, because you'll only benefit from stuff in the future by being that operation and just scaling that up, rather than going back to the bloated version of it you were before.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I would just add, kind of be adaptive. Look at what's going on. Don't be set in your ways. If things need changing, change them.
Yeah. Yeah, huge.
Freedom.
I was just as an example of Rob's adaptive there, we've got a client whose traditional business is making blinds, and they now make hospital gowns.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah,
they had the right stuff to do it. People weren't necessarily buying blinds when nobody had any money, but there was a heck of a lot of hospital gowns that needed to be made, and they switched up sharpish, and now they've not forgotten blinds. That will still be their core business going forwards, but they adapted to the situation they were put in.
That's awesome. I saw a pub in Telford actually that put themselves on Just Eat and did home delivery pre-poured pints.
That's a great joke.
It was awesome because obviously everyone likes a properly poured pint over one out of a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
And when 4 show up, it'd be rude not to drink all of them. So I thought it was great.
Deliveries on the hour.
You are, yeah. Once you're 12 pints deep, you can't stop pressing the button. It's a genius switch. The one thing I'd say from like kind of a bit of loosely marketing but a business perspective is don't follow the crowd. Is when bad things happen just because everybody else is panicking, or just because one thing that happened in lockdown is everyone was told to lock down, which is fair, understand that, but nobody was told to stop, and there's a clear difference between lockdown and stop. But that many people just said, well, everyone else is sitting in their garden, I'm going to get a lockdown tan as well. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think if things get bad again, that's you need to have a look at, right, what can you do? How can you flex? How can you change? How can you adapt? How can you continue to push forward, but maybe your plans have changed? That kind of approach.
Yeah, agreed.
So we better finish on a positive note. We can't just keep talking about lockdown. What are you each most looking forward to about the new office?
Haven't you seen my video?
I have seen your video, Al, but I'm going to put this out there now, publicly, in the public domain. If you send me 5 videos and every member of staff is looking forward to exactly the same thing, it feels very pre-planned. Like, there's no way that all of them are really, really looking forward to seeing each other again. Most of them have seen each other by now. So what are you really looking forward to about the new office?
What were you going to say, man?
No, I was just going to say, you may not believe us, but those videos are the least planned videos I think we've ever done.
No, I thought that must be the case. I was like, there's no way they've briefed everyone to say the same thing. And how lovely is it that everybody's come back to say, I just can't wait to be back with my colleagues and working together again. That's really nice. Sign of a good company.
We all like each other.
Oh, I believe you. It's brilliant. Our lot said, they just can't wait for the free pizza. So
We'd have. So,
but no, okay. As kind of like the bosses, what are you three most looking forward to? See if we can vary it up.
I'm just looking forward to experiencing the workspace that we put together.
Nice.
Seeing those different places you can sit, you experiencing the variation in location we've got going on, which doesn't make a lot of sense when we're saying it over the phone. But when people come and visit, they'll see how different this office is, how different it will feel to work in, and I'm hoping how relaxing, well, not relaxing, de-stressing it should feel. Get your work done in.
Yeah.
Rather than being cramped in the corner of the room.
Yeah,
I'm
very
desperate.
lucky.
I'm desperate to see our plan come into fruition and see this, what we think will be an amazing workplace to work in, and see the buzz about that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Al?
I don't want to say, now you've mugged me off about it, I don't want to say looking at the team, so I'm trying to think of my next.
I'll be more fair. So other than looking forward to seeing the team, and what's your next favourite thing?
I think so. There's a real want to have a place to go to work, if that makes sense. So I'm working from home, and I obviously live at home as well. I can't wait to have that separation again of going to this office that, as the lads have just said, we've designed, we think is going to be an amazing place to work from, and be able to just kind of accelerate out of the curve, really. Just really get in there, get pushing, go for it, really. We're really keen. And yeah, can't wait.
That's awesome. Guys, you've been brilliant. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks, Joel.